Well, Vitality get us our very first Game 3 in the playoffs in Winter. Thank you for that, Vitality, or should I say thank you, BDS, because you had everything you may have wanted until you didn't. But as Lyncas said in that exquisite check-in with Laurre right after the game, you know, it's chaos. You've got to come to expect it.
Just come to him. He's dancing in his chair. Come on,
have a series! Finally! We have a Game 3 of Fearless. We're going to see some actual depth of these players' champions pools. As Lyncas said, it's going to be chaos. I'm excited about it.
I love it.
But to go back to what you said, because
Yes.
I don't disagree with it, and I don't hate you for saying it either.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, well, but it's very obvious.
What the hell?
Yeah, well, anyway, BDS, I think they just got massive eco and felt themselves too much from Game 1 as well.
1-1-3, man.
Yeah, honestly, like the way he was stepping up and looking to like dodge spells and trying to make it a mechanical outplay on the Sin, it felt so unnecessary so many times. You come from a Game 1, right, where they're so cohesive. It's slow, meticulous gameplay where they're setting up for the objectives. You go into this Game 2 and they're like,
It's your
what
boy.
if we just flip
happened?
it?
Why can't you just be normal? Like, you had the game in your hands. It was a really, really good early game by BDS once again. They completely dominated Vitality in the early game, and there was such an easy way to finish it up, but they just got impatient once again. Look at his play here. This is where all changes. 1-1-3 walks into the river here and thinks, crab.
Delicious.
Love that. And he tries to eat crab, but the crab is not edible right now. He has to wait for his team, and he just gets caught before his team is there to help him. It's just very disappointing to see stuff like this, and this is just the first out of 2 replays we're going to talk about. This happens once again.
Yeah, this is kind of like a misposition, I would say, but then there's one where it's also a misposition, but it's more egregious because he picks that position to be in.
I think this should never happen from a position where you have that first Drake fight where BDS picked up 3 different kills. It looks like, okay, our bot lane's out of it now. Our jungler should be out of it for just flipping that play. But no, not at all. I mean, this should have been BDS just taking it.
Criminal! We don't like that. We want to see more standard play by 1-3. We know we can do the crazy things. Yeah, okay, we want to see it when the team is not winning. But when you're winning, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You can just roll.
You're getting more Swedish as you're getting passionate as well.
Just roll.
I'm very disappointed in 1-3 here. I don't like the way he approaches the map. It's very obscure, the decisions he's making when his team is winning.
I think we'll see that in the next replay as well, and to Vitality's credit, right? We've talked about it before. When the other team does overstep, they can just roll over them, especially with this composition that they played, I think, pretty well.
I mean, it's once again, like, he's getting caught. He dodged the Gragas ult well, but then he decides to E in. He thinks this is the fight they want to go for, but he's just way too deep once again.
It's so, like, you feel it, right? You dodge one ability, you dodge the other, and you're like, yeah, I can go in. Look at my movement, and then you go in and you die. I mean, I as much as this is BDS as well, obviously making mistakes, I think, once again, it goes back to Vitality being that kind of team that if they have the tools to just go for these team fights, even if they've fallen behind, they can find a way to actually claw their way back into the game. And it's not the first time we've seen this as well. We saw it against KC. They weren't able to win that game too, but it's that one thing you always have to respect with them, that they're willing to go for the plays.
And this is kind of the story that Ro was talking about with Vitality. Okay, they're not the cleanest, okay, they're not the best mechanical players, but they are really, really, really good at punishing enemies' mistakes. So when the enemies make mistakes, Hylissang's little radar goes off, and it's like, this guy's griefing. And they always
I know it because I am one. I recognize it.
Yeah, no, but I think we gotta give kudos to Vitality because they really realized that, okay, this guy's too deep in the river, we just commit everything to him. And when you have the Ari with the resets, it's just so easy to snowball one single kill into a teamfight win.
I mean, it was clean. His Ari was clean. I know a couple of times they entered into the team, but for Czajek, you know, in a playoff game, also he exuded confidence in that pre-game interview as well, and he was playing phenomenally. I think when they got to group up as a ball, of course they were already ahead at that point, and the Wukong went in. It all looked very, very good.
It looked really good, yeah, completely. But can they replicate that, right?
Yeah.
We're in an elimination series now. Game 1 was completely slacking. Sleepy as well, yeah. But I think going into this, what has been true for both games so far, Vitality has entered the early game, right?
Yes.
And coming into this, well, yeah, we can say they're good at punishing mistakes.
They're doing it again, probably.
Is that reliable way of you making it further into the LEC? As Vitality right now, you need to find a way where you're finding that click moment where you can actually play through it, the early game very clean. And you even heard it from Czajek. He said, classic Vitality early game.
You
need to be more than a classic
Talking about
Vitality.
not reinventing the wheel, I think you're asking them a lot. You're asking them not to int in the early game. That's how they know how to play. Their whole game plan is based upon it.
That's true, my bad.
Yeah.
Want to see me into early game?
Want to see me do it again?
No, I mean, I think we really need to see BDS go outside now, take a deep breath, get the little vitamin pills or the little banana, you know,
What?
just
I
get
know
back.
where we're living, but geez, hold your horse.
just like whatever, like they need to restabilize their blood sugar, right? Because I think
Yeah.
they got too high, excited that game, and I think they need to slow down, go a bit lower, and just take a deep breath, because they have this. They completely ran over them game 1. They had this game in the bag. I think what BDS has shown me that they are the better team, but I need them to show me when it matters.
Counter argument. They have shown you they are the better team, perhaps, but haven't they also shown you repeatedly that in the mid to late game, they do tend to make these little oopsies more often than not? You know, we saw it last week a couple of times as well. So I don't know, Finn.
They have
I
in
got
fact,
you there.
They have in fact shown that.
I mean, at the end of the day, the better team is the team that destroys the Nexus, right?
Oh,
I mean,
boring.
Oh, yeah, so when Fnatic has perfect early games against G2 and then drops the ball, then that's Fnatic still being the better team?
Okay, good point.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
So I think like when it comes to this, sure, you can have that, but you still need to find the mid to early game success. But I really don't think it should be difficult. Like, we've already hammered it home so many times. That should just have been a win. It was not because you were taking bad, it was not because the team fights were hard or anything. You just decided to make some really bad decisions.
And crucially, we get the side selection change into game 3, because BDS has been every game on red side, now they're going to go into blue side, so we're going to see maybe the draft identity is going to change, because the last games, they have banned 3 junglers every single game. But now they actually have the first pick, so maybe now they will be looking for this Zyra, for this Maokai, for example, because these are the picks that they seem to value really highly, that they want to deny from Vitality at every cost.
Yeah, and I mean, crucially, there's barely any AD mid laners that's been taken out of the pool. It's been pure mages as well, so if you want to go for any of these AP junglers that you're addressing, Finn, there's still that synergy we've been talking about today that you can pair up with it. You can still find a good damage profile for your composition.
Who's most in trouble on either team, you think?
I mean, the fact that Lyncas said there will be chaos in game 3,
Yeah.
it's trouble for BDS.
I mean, which lane? Which
I believe in
player?
Vitality.
Okay.
Which player? I think maybe the jungle pool might get really pinched again.
As always, yeah.
If this keeps up from this, what we saw in game 1 and 2, then the jungles will be like, okay, you have Viego maybe for 1-1-3, but then what is that for Lyncas? If there's 4 jungle bans plus the 4 from the previous games, we might be getting into like a Mumu Nocturne territory, which is a bit scary.
That doesn't sound bad.
No, not at all. But I also still think like you still have the Gnar, you still have the Ornn. All these top laners that can still give you good team fights is exactly what BDS like. I thought the Ornn, or not the Ornn, but the Sion was a bit lacking in the game 2. We just saw could really only get onto that front line, but having some others that can actually allow you a little bit of backline access or more CC control, that is exactly what BDS like to play around.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, the Sion and the lane swap. Try lane swapping in the next patch,
Yeah.
okay?
We'll see what
No,
happens.
they'll knock at your door, say get out of that chair. You're not allowed to do that.
Enjoy it while it lasts.
Sir.
Yeah.
So listen, that's how they get to game 3. It's quite interesting also from a storyline perspective, I think, but for 1-1-3, right, it's like he can be this figure of mythical proportions if he's doing well, but then he can throw it, and he talked in the beginning of the year about like, hey, he wants people to remember him for something different. So he's definitely not going to want to make those mistakes again in an elimination game 3.
Yeah, we need to see some maturance, if that's a word.
Some what?
Some maturance. We need to see him be more, maturity is the word. From 1-3 this series, because I think this game he really just got too excited, and we can't keep seeing these mistakes, because then that is the message he will leave behind, that this is what he's capable of. But I know he's better than that. I know he can do more than that, so I want to see it.
Yeah, like for you. It's
Yeah,
like, oh,
but-
it's that clip player.
But one thing has been true, he's been the man to watch in both games.
Yeah.
Even on Tintao, he was the main engaged with a follow-up for a Shockwave, so he's certainly the man to watch in game 3.
The man to watch for better or for worse. So let's see who wins game 3 and who goes home. Well, both of them go home. But
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
they'll both go home, Aethia. They'll both go home, and then hopefully they'll have some maturation, which is the word of the day.
The
apparently.
maturation of a fine wine. That's a new word. It's a neologism, an invention of a new word. That's actually a word, by the way.
Hey, it's a great word. I love it. Neo to like new, and then logism, obviously, whatever that means.
Probably more important things for us to talk about, like elimination.
I was going to say, how do you know if a wine is fine or not? Do you have fine wines and coarse wines?
I don't even drink wine, so I don't even know about
Well,
one.
we're useless, aren't we? Let's get into the draft. BDS have picked the blue side.
Surprise.
Yeah, not a massive shocker, I'll be honest. Team seems to like to be on the blue side. As you can see at the top of the screen, those are all the champions that have been picked so far and will not be picked for this game. Obviously, bans still available, so things like the Zyra, the Skarner, the Maokai, the Kalista, all things that we expect to see in series like this, or expect to see banned out.
So typically the roles I've seen affected the most are 1, tank top laners tend to fall away very quickly, tank supports fall away quickly, and the same with junglers. Even after just a couple of games, you can see, well, most of your engaged supports are starting to thin out. You still have Nautilus and Alistar, but particularly when you start to consider different laning phases, well, you can't let through that Kalista 3, you have to ban that away. This is where you start to think, well, okay, what do we pick that fits a composition, but also survives the laning phase of the remaining champions left?
It won't be Pantheon, Kalista, or Nocturne from the side of BDS. Skarner and Zyra already removed by Vitality. I wonder if the Maokai is what's going to join that, because otherwise first pick Maokai seems like a pretty obvious choice for BDS. We'll see where they decide to go with this final ban. Tristana instead. So, Vitality are laying down a tree-shaped gauntlet.
That they are. Then, of course, Nuke on Tristana, very, very powerful. Surprised we haven't seen any Jayce picked up by either team. I know it has had some nerfs, but Nuke going towards the AD build, and it has been shifted more towards the AD. Again, it definitely could be an option later on. It works well with the Maokai. This is the obvious first pick. This is the gauntlet being thrown down, as you rightfully said. This is the easiest engage option left in the champions available, and it means that BDS can play slow, which is what they really want to do, and play to that front-to-back team fight.
Oh, it's tree versus tree. We'll see whose bark is stronger. The Mel coming out as well from Vitality. So Ivern into Maokai are jungle picks. There's the Mel.
I love it, man. I love that I get to be with you for this, for the Fangorn Forest matchup.
Oh, God.
As we'll see how long it takes for them to stop finishing saying hello. That Jayce, we highlighted that one earlier, can go towards either Irrelevant or Nuke. I would suspect it goes towards Nuke. He has looked very, very powerful on that. And the great thing about the Jayce, if it comes through from mid lane, is that you can kind of combo up with the Maokai from kind of like half a screen away as he kind of invades into Raptor Pit if you want to do that. Of course, against Ivern, not the best thing ever. Of course, if you do go into mid lane, you might be against Mel and you'll accelerate the Shock Blast. Don't think you want to get that reflected, actually.
It's like an Uno reverse card just coming out from the Mel with that rebuttal.
Think fast!
I expect BDS will be looking for more of that sort of range that we talked about. Even coming into game 1, they like to have these longer range poke comps. They have worked them well. Obviously, with the Maokai and the Jayce, you already have quite a nice amount of non-committal long-range engage and damage. The Rumble adds on to that with the Equalizer if people get locked up on that back line. Vitality here. So far, they've left their support and their AD carry until the last 2 picks on both of the drafts.
Yeah.
Do you want to pick top into Rumble? I think it would make sense, because otherwise you're going to have some bans.
I like this, though, because you want the CC for Rumble, and the Nautilus against the Mel is kind of hellish, because you get hit by the hook, and it doesn't matter if you reflect it, you're still flying towards the dude.
That is very true.
And that is not where you want to be.
So I will say, I think a lot of Vitality fans won't like this, because Hilly can go forward. And that was a problem in game 1. And not so much a problem in game 2.
You raise a good point. I'm not going to invalidate that. I was just going to quickly glaze over that for a second.
Draft-wise, great. Player-wise, we'll see. We'll see. Now, obviously, Hilly, you have to have some trust in him if you're Vitality at this point. He is a very good engaged player as well. The Alistar banned away. Yone now removed as well by BDS. They want to get rid of some of the ability to harass that Rumble in the top side.
I'll also say as well, Nautilus is a different champion when you play it with the Ivern, because the shields on top of your shields are really, really good at helping you survive that couple of seconds longer. So we'll see how a more effective Vitality's engaged duo can be with that. We don't know whether Mel's going to force as well. It can be mid lane, can be bot lane. I don't think it's bad with the Nautilus as a lane matchup. So once again, Vitality, I believe in game 1 they did a similar thing where they flexed around.
There was the Gragas in game 2.
That was it. Okay, I was remembering the Corki on the one game, and that was.
I mean, yeah, that's also.
And that was a different
BDS.
game. That was a different game.
All good.
Fine.
It's
all
hard
fine.
to-
Look, turns out flexes are good, and you can do that with the Mel. That's the core point. Forget the other stuff.
Exactly. The Alistar and the Jinx taken away by Vitality. Yone, the first ban from BDS. I wonder if they'll keep pitching that top ball, or actually they decided to get rid of the Draven in case Carzzy wanted to go for a kill lane, a bot lane. I wonder if we'll see Parus going across towards something like the Seraphine again, and you just play
That's
like the
a really
super
good point.
scaling with the range.
I mean, the problem is, Encore for Mel, that's a game ender. I think that, look, a Shock Blast being reflected back at you,
True.
That's bad. I think if you go towards Seraphine, while it might work for your 5-man unit, if that ever gets reflected, that's game over. So
But it's
very dangerous.
How many things do you stop taking because Mel could bounce them back?
Okay, I think there's a couple of things you can agree with that. The Seraphine's the one I would just say, no, don't do.
I can understand that. And that's a valid point to make. I'm just saying, like, at some point you have to be like, well,
for sure.
We have the Shock Blast, we have the Maokai Ultimate, we have a Sivir Boomerang. How many things is she going to be able to reflect?
After a while, you do just have to like cut your losses and say, we need to pick for our composition. Don't worry about that. Sivir, of course, that was something that Carzzy was playing in the KC game. Oh my god, that would be another hook champion. The problem is, if you reflect that again as the Mel, the Blitzcrank still goes melee range of you and he can still knock you up. It's better.
It is better
than the Nautilus, because at least the Blitzcrank is pulled out of position.
There
but
it
is blocked in. There we go. Blitzcrank for Parus.
He's going to crack that one out. As you say, we're going to talk a lot about rebuttal in this game. Obviously, Mel's W.
It's the new thing. We have to.
It's the new thing. We're going to talk about it. Basically, when Mel gets hit with a projectile, with a skill shot, she can bounce it back at people. But if she bounces back a Blitzcrank hook, she then gets the Blitzcrank hooked on top of her. You'll see it, hopefully.
Yeah, not the nicest thing ever. Well, I'm sure we'll see it at some point. So the problem is you have to challenge your instincts on that one. I really like the composition which BDS have largely put together. I think their top side is very coherent. See what happens with the bot side. The Sivir can help the Rumble and the Jayce go into melee range if they want to start keeping up that DPS. They don't necessarily help the Maokai in the same way, but Maokai into Blitzcrank is a very good combo in its own right. What I'm looking for is when Lyncas is actually going to get a Mikhail's early. I think if you get that Mikhail's, you can stop that Maokai and that instant combo coming through. It's a very important item completion for Lyncas. Whether that's first, second, or third, that's a very important thing to check.
I'm also thinking about how the bot lane matchup's going to go. Will we see lane swaps again? Obviously, Rumble can struggle a little bit when he's swapped into because he just doesn't have the range of something like a Gnar. You can farm with Electro Harpoon, but you're very squishy under the tower as well. I think Vitality would come out on the winning side of the lane swap as we see the coaches there having a fist bump as we get into Game 3 of this best of 3. The final game of the series. One of these teams going home. Well, as Afia said, both teams going home after this.
They do that after a work day.
They could just stay around if they want. Maybe they're really interested in the next match, you know? It's possible. Wow, some people are very excited about hats and seats.
Hats and
very excited.
Hang on, there's a hats and seats festival.
Apparently there's a hats and seats festival.
So many exciting things happening here today.
It's also happening this year. I wonder if it's an annual event, you know? It's hats and seats every year. Incredible. This, though, not an annual event in the LEC. It's our first Game 3, and we see inventiveness in the Fearless draft. I think looking at both compositions, you could see how a team got to this composition without Fearless. Like, you know, Kai'Sa Nautilus is nice, Mel is good, the Ivern, you know, you have good compositions on either side, but there's definitely been a bit of spice added by the fact that we had all of those champions banned away.
So there are two very good level 1 champions. One's the Nautilus and the hook lands.
It does, and the follow-up CC. Okay, yeah, 113's dead.
Whoa!
113 is dead. The Solar Snare coming out for that extra bit of CC on top of the hook. 113 was just in a bit of a greedy position.
We didn't even get to the rune page. We didn't even get to this before the first blood came through. Jeez. Well, I mean, one side had a Blitzcrank. They could have clumped up for the level 1. Maybe BDS thought they'd be safe because they had the Blitzcrank and that kind of phantom fear can come through. But, I mean, Hylissang on Nautilus, we did say it's a champion you can go forward on. Gets good value at the level 1.
Yeah, really nice. And obviously you have the follow-up CC from the Mel, and then you have the auto attack with the staggering blows. Makes it very easy to lock someone up. As soon as 113
what you're
is
saying is
there,
you probably shouldn't have walked up in the first place. That's what I'm getting.
He's a tree, he's at home in the bushes. Okay, 113 is an enigma wrapped in a mystery. You don't know what's going through this guy's mind at any one time. I'm just thankful we don't see the emote spam anymore. As Ice and Parus waiting in the bot bush here, not going to be able to get anything off because obviously the minion's in the way of Parus's hook. One of the benefits of Blitzcranking to Nautilus is your hook has a shorter cast time than the Nautilus hook. So if he hooks, you can respond hook and actually pull him in, but do you want a Nautilus on your face? That's a question that has to be answered. There's another hook landing from Hylissang. Ice taking a chunk. Parus, you could I think Hilly could have auto Parus there to get a staggering blows proc off and keep him around for a little bit longer, but decides against it.
A swift reminder that Kai'Sa Nautilus has been the Kai'Sa lane over time because of the double CC at level 1 gives you so much passive procs. You do not want to have extended trades with the lethal tempo Kai'Sa. Control over the laning phase, assist onto them both. It hasn't, led to any extra gold being spent right now because they went straight, I believe, straight out of level 1, straight into the laning phase after that one. Control over this very early on. So, big thing to talk about when it comes to the Ivern is your early jungle pathing. As it happens, because of that level 1, the best that BDS have gotten is a ward into here. You can see the green dots onto the minimap, that's the mark camps. You mark things, go over to the other side of the map, and you clear back towards the marks which have matured after that point. Your first clear as Ivern is surprisingly fast if not interrupted. Lyncas is getting good value out of that.
Definitely is. Didn't do the perfectly optimal Ivern clear, which is where you use the blast cone as you put out your root caller to clear 2 camps at once. But we'll forgive you, Lyncas. We'll forgive you. You're still miles ahead in terms of jungle.
Say, I do love the little mini games of how quickly people can clear jungle. Did you see that sub 3-minute Nidalee clear post? That stuff is crazy. Still not as crazy. Hang on, that's level 3 hit bot side. Good level up.
Parus looking, gets the hook onto Hylissang and gets the knock up. Hilly just short on the hook on his own, but Parus is being chunked back out. Ignite ticking on Hilly. He's down to 200 HP. Ice with those ricochets can hit Carzzy and still put the damage into Hylissang's back.
Okay, earlier we talked about, wow, don't fight against the Kai'Sa Nautilus. Well, I mean, something trumps that. Don't fight when you're a level down. They get themselves an XP deficit after the crash. Doesn't really work in the way that they want them to. Level 3 hit by Parus and Ice. They do lose a lot of HP. You can see that was a bit of a warning sign there for Carzzy and Hilly.
Naako getting chunked out in the top side as well, realizing he doesn't have enough damage to kill Naako before the Mega Gnar comes out, so it's like, well, there's no point continuing to trade here when Naako will get that health infusion. Lyncas was waiting around the bot side, but unable to actually find anything as the wave looks like it's been neutralized overall. A 600 gold lead for Vitality early on. It's the first time we've seen them have a gold lead early on in this series.
Yeah, they've had to really work for it. Of course, last game, even then, the early game did not go well.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, BDS, with what we thought was a very good early game into mid game, didn't manage to play well enough around the objectives. They left a couple of openings, and really it was on Lyncas, Czajek, and Naak finding very different ways to get themselves into the playmaking cycle of things. BDS just fell apart to play after play, so looking to recover from that now. I think GB and Finn really highlighted in this well. You really need to rely on 4-1-3. I think that this guy, he's come into a much better split than he did back in 2022. He has maturation.
Matured. We're just going to say matured, okay?
Because people who didn't watch the desk are not going to get any. Well, whatever, fine. Anyway, he's done a lot better than he did back in 2022. That growth has been very exciting to watch. And he has been the core of how BDS have strategically played their games. He has been the go button. He has been the person calling the shots.
He definitely has. At times can be a little bit over-eager, but often does work out for BDS, fighting for their playoffs lives right now. Ice is going to be able to push out bot. Irrelevant. Halfway to level 6. Flame Spitter coming out, as you say, looking for that overheat. Needs a couple of autos. Doesn't get the second as Naako just leaps his way to the safety of his tower.
Gets out with one hop this time, slides to the right, and he gets out alive.
Char real smooth.
That he did. I feel like Gnar would have a different version of it as he kind of butchers.
Nah, real smooth.
If anyone has any musical skill out there, make that song.
Yeah, Betty. Get on it, man. Where's the next LEC rap battle?
That's a great question. The things that we miss in LEC. Another thing there as well, you see that the cookies in top lane have become really meta for moments like that where you are getting burst out and suddenly Cookie comes in and gives you a... wow, that was... yeah,
minions got in the way. Yeah, it was a nice rebuttal. The minions got in the way, so Nuke didn't actually take his accelerated, reversed shock blast of doom. Dragon
That's
started
the official
up.
title.
Yeah, that is the official title. Dragon started up by Vitality. They're first on it right now as 1-1-3 is up towards the top side. They're getting grubbed, so will just be an objective for objective trade here.
Hilly not using the Ivern efficiently by auto-attacking while he's outside of the brush.
Yeah.
You know, it's these small things which... It doesn't actually matter at all, by the way. But yeah,
it's like 20 damage.
It is. I mean, that's an important thing. If you're attacking from within bushes, near that Ivern, you do get that extra damage buff. Typically, you play with double AD carry with Ivern because of this, and of course, his Enchanter of everything. Carzzy will be happy with that one. We'll see whether Naako can utilize that, I suppose, to some degree. So we do have Grubs and Dragon traded across sides of the map.
Yeah, I was wondering if Naako was going to be dived here, but he's healthy enough. You can see 1-1-3 is waiting around the corner. Does have that Nature's Grasp now as well, the level 6 hit. Naako on his way to Mega Gnar though, so it's a risky dive if you want to go for it. You kind of have to burst him out.
Anyway.
Nature's Grasp comes out. Parus looking for the knock-up. They'll get him. Mega Gnar, twisted advance. Naako gets towards the Mega, doesn't even need it! Parus dies flies to the tower. Naako heals up as he rages out on the Gnar.
What do you think this bar means, VDS? What do you think that bar is? It doesn't go origin into red for no reason. It is a warning sign. Colors of nature tend to warn you about bad things like that. The Mega Gnar comes out at the right time, and that felt like it was so ill-timed from BDS, and they do get punished accordingly.
I mean, Parus was dead before Naako even transformed. And it's just a continuation of Naako having a really good series after game 2. Like, his Gragas in game 2 was game-defining. Like, he was the reason in a lot of positions that Vitality were able to win fights, and now we see, like, this was a good play.
Yep.
Well, credit to Naako. Obviously, BDS messed it up a little bit, but if he can get ahead again on this Gnar, just look to see how much impact he has in team fights.
Absolutely, because he is going to be a side lane menace if he does get more gold on this pick. Gnar is one of those real kind of fair weather all-rounder champions. You can kind of do whatever you want of him. And Naako coming in as a rookie player this split as well. I cannot tell you, and I cannot stress enough, how difficult it is stepping up to top level as a top laner in a lane swap meta. That is hard mode. So to have the split he has, it's definitely helped. Hook lands.
Now it's going to be hooked up, rooted with the staggering blows as well, and that's half his health gone. You can see he's trying to proc the aftershock with the rocket fist just to not take as much damage as he runs away. Manages to escape for the moment. Lyncas, you could flash Root Caller as Lyncas. Parus doesn't have flash. Ice obviously standing in the way here because he knows he has that spell shield, so he can eat that Root Caller and keep Parus safe. Nuke just gonna put damage back onto Czajek. It's a dodgeball game in the mid lane. Czajek very happy to eat the accelerated shot pass.
There are so many fun minigames you can play with them out. There's so many of them. This is the future of Mundo Dodgeball.
Oh, that's the next GB Sports.
That would not surprise me in the slightest. I'd wish to say that we'd made that. No, there are so many different videos about that already.
Well, we can pretend.
Oh yeah, we actually made it up here.
I haven't seen any of them,
yeah,
so
no,
you know.
Yeah, no, I think that they would be a really good dodgeball game with Mel. Mel's thought of that one before.
Yep. 100%. Lyncas up towards the top side once again. They know that Parus doesn't have flash, so it's an easy point of pressure. Daisy goes down. Parus going to try and run his way away. Ice pops the on the hunt as well. Root Caller shielded as we talked about before. Naako with a Gnar into the wall here. Irrelevant. Does have flash, also has the scrap shield. Dodges away from the wallop. If he was stunned by that, I think he is a goner. In the end, we'll be able to avoid the pressure Naako is putting down. Also has the equalizer for the next wave if he wants to just make sure that Naako can't get under this tower.
That's exactly what he does. Prediction correct. So not going to have that tool available for the grubs, which would mean, I think, well, look, BDS have the 3 grubs already. Largely what has happened in this series is teams are happy to give up 1 set of grubs, not both. That's typically what we've seen for this objective. On the whole, I think it's dangerous to give any grubs over to a Gnar. Honestly, that champion can hit towers very, very well, especially there's a little, I say it's a more little known thing about Gnar. As you level up, your attack range increases as well. You just forget about that. You get towards mid-game and this guy's hitting turrets really, really easily.
Yeah, he has so much extra mobility as well, so he can step forward to try and take out the tower and then always jump away.
And if that happened now, people are like, oh, season 15. No, it's 2015.
It's less obvious, that's why. We just have to obscure things more.
What do you mean the top lane is going to Tristana passive?
Unfortunately for Naako, not quite as strong as Tristana's is. He will be able to get one of these 2 plates. The second one's still standing there. Vitality trying to gain control over the mid wave right now. Carzzy's the one clearing that out, but Ice obviously with the Ricochet already has a BF sword as well, so his wave play is very powerful. Irrelevant's going to force Naako away. You can see him deliberately fighting when Naako is either just coming out of Mega or exhausted. Hook just wide from Parus. Hilly's going to land the hook back onto 113. Nuke's on his way across. Nature's Grass coming out as well. Hilly should be able to tank this. Death Charge has been used, but there's the Twisted Advance follow-up, and Hilly is just deleted.
It is so easy to play around the Maokai ult. You think maybe you can burst them out, but realistically you have a Nautilus and an Ivern, and then the Kai'Sa is also there, but the Kai'Sa doesn't want to walk up that far. I think Vitality misjudged how much damage they have, and now suddenly they have to watch this set of grubs they didn't want to give over cause Grubbageddon for BDS. They get the full house.
Good old Grubbageddon.
Batten down the hatches.
BDS will get all 6. There is a Drake available for Vitality if they want to path down there, try and get their second of the game. BDS might try and challenge it though. Nuke does have TP. If he wants to just get the push out through top and then come across. Lyncas will be over here taking the Scuttle Crab for now. I didn't even think about it, but the static field from the Blitzcrank goes through shields. It breaks shields, doesn't it? So really nice into the Ivern and also into the Titan's Wrath coming out from Hylissang. So just getting rid of some of that trigger seed shielding can be very impactful.
It's not like Serpent's Fang, where if a shield is put on after, then it's also hard, but it will break any shield that's on you. That's a really important point. We've seen that from Rel into Ivern a lot too, so definitely the logic follows. Rel used earlier in the season,
I mean, it was also used earlier in the season. Totally correct.
I'm technically correct, which is the best kind of it, but definitely that Blitzcrank can have good supplemental value through that one. 2 dragons over to Vitality, and we'll be going towards an Ocean Soul. Ocean Soul with this comp, really, really nasty, so BDS will have to keep an eye on future dragons.
Definitely will. The amount of sustain with the Ivern, with the Ocean Soul, as you say, would be very difficult for BDS to work their way through. Czajek unable to land the root there, puts down the rebuttal, but doesn't really rebut anything.
I can't believe you go invulnerable during that, though. It is on cooldown, that's important, and you can't use it against the Maokai.
Czajek burns the flash, still gets hit with the root at the back. Parus does have flash of his own. Czajek's rebuttal was down. There's the flash hook. And there goes Mel. The root, though, onto Nuke means that he tanks up a couple of tower shots, has enough defense with the rest of his team just around the corner. And BDS now using these 6 grubs to great effect. They get the might, step charge onto Nuke. Ice with the spell shield, he'll heal up. Re-engage, Parus! Ooh, that was close. Hilly felt that one just whisper behind his behind.
You could really tell Vitality wanted to fight that. Yep. They were positioning so aggressively. Carzzy has up. I mean, they're still technically hanging around. One more bit of CC. Carzzy flies through. Kraken Slayer first item. He hasn't gone for something like that shit. I mean, Carzzy, hang on, buddy.
No! Parus misses though. Carzzy flashes away.
That is one lucky Kai'Sa.
Oh, it goes in. Carzzy, what are you doing?
Carzzy! What have you done, my son? What have you done?
I was about to praise him. I was going to be like, sometimes we love to see AD carries play aggressively like this. Get summoners out, get spells out. And then he's like, hey guys, have you heard of a killer instinct? Well, I have a dying instinct. He just yeets himself into the enemy team.
It's like the hamster of AD carries. You know, like, I just feel like my life is over now. It's my time to go over the bridge onto the other side. You could tell they wanted to fight. We said about it in the body language. They really wanted to play around it. And this is such an important game to both teams because it would be the end of their split here if they lose this one. Carzzy almost got that first kill, but still.
Yes.
I don't get the thought process.
He's playing for feats of strength. He's 100% playing for feats of strength. If he gets the kill, they get to 3. And he gets the feat of warfare.
It's
100 because then they've got 2 dragons, right?
What? You put that sign down, sir. That is BM.
I mean, I literally said he has a dying instinct. I don't think the noob sign is really what we're talking about BM-wise here.
That's fair. And they actually don't even have microphones, so we're actually in an even worse position with that.
That's true. That is true. Okay, so after that sequence of, we will call them events, unfortunate perhaps, BDS now 1,000 gold ahead, 6 grubs to 0, but they are 2 drakes in the hole. Nato looking for a flank position here, doesn't have the Mega Gnar. Relevant coming across from the side as well. Vitality have 1 extra player right now, but 1-1-3, push down the Nature's Grass. Hylissang goes for the engage, rooted up immediately, and Parus gonna get the lock up here as well. Hilly gets into the redemption just in time, but will fall to the ignite and the ricochet. Lyncas next on the menu for BDS, they find 2. Carzzy dies as well. If only you had your flash or your cleanse, Carzzy, perhaps you could have escaped. Nato diving back forward, the wallop goes wide on Irrelevant, who flashes away from it. Nuke looking for more of an engage as Nato flashes to the safety of his tower. BDS find 3. They'll push for the turret as well. These 6 grubs are so powerful in a moment like this.
Especially with the hypercharger on the Jayce, they'll take down the majority of that. The root comes through.
Oh, Flame Spitter as well.
That's aggro. Yeah. That's not what you want. It was a 3-for-1. Ends up being a 3-for-2, and the turret doesn't fall. So what started actually as a pretty clean play from BDS, a great use of the Maokai ultimate again. We talked about the responsibility of 1-1-3 on this team with the picks that he's used. He uses it well here. Great kind of strafing ult to go across the entirety of that team. Start things off well, and the Ivern shields are just not making the difference, sadly, when it's on multiple targets getting hit. That bit's great. After that, gets a little bit funky because, it turns out you've used a lot of your skills, and tower's still really hurt.
That they do. BDS just being a little bit too greedy afterwards. They do lose Irrelevant again. But Vitality with that engage just a little bit mistimed. Like, Nato was half the way to a Mega Gnar. If he's Mega Gnar at the start of that fight, there's a lot of people going into a wall, right?
And even at the start of it, he was in a brush, not even hitting stuff to get that Mega Gnar. So he's like, I know there's a fight coming, but I will be mini for it. Herald's going to go down as we get ourselves the Safari Cam of, I don't know, wanton destruction of nature.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I was thinking about this with the dragons earlier. Do you think, like,
I feel it's a little bit cruel.
It's a bit David Attenborough, but when the lizard that's running away from the snakes actually gets caught and eaten,
No,
you know?
don't talk about that clip. That was still...
They escaped. The lizard lived.
That one did. Yeah, but it gave my heart rate a bit of a bump for a while.
Understandable. Carzzy now waiting down towards the bottom side of the river here. BDS trying to get control towards the mid lane tower. With the Rift Herald, obviously the control is a lot easier to garner. The Drake up in 10 seconds time. BDS will want to fight around that. Stop the soul point for Vitality as the Herald charges in, and Vitality obviously lose control of mid because of that Herald going forward. Parus still looking for the hook. Daisy's going to be the one to face check alongside Hylissang. Ice having to walk back. Hook lands onto Parus. He's rooted up, locked up. Parus is down. Irrelevant has a great flank here, though, on towards the backline, and Carzzy dives in with a killer instinct immediately on Twice. He'll take him out. Great from Carzzy to avoid the oncoming Irrelevant. Nuke now left the rest of his team alone as Vitality have found 3 already. Carzzy able to avoid BDS's search squad, and Vitality get out unharmed.
This is the first fight. Hang on, that's a hook. You don't have the teammates there, Hilly.
Vitality get out mostly unharmed. 1-1-3. I mean, there it would have been nice, you know, he would have gone a little bit too far. Nako's going to chunk out Nuke. Czajek looking for the root caller across the wall as well. 1-1-3 going back in with a twisted advance. Nako jumps over the wall. Nuke looking to follow up, but 1-1-3 is dead. Hilly's the master baiter, man. He's baited them all. It's gorgeous.
Hilly somehow makes it work because now
But they're all too low to do the dragon. And BDS are back alive.
How do you expect me to follow that one? Okay. What even happened in that grand scheme of things? Kills happened. No objective went down. The dragon is alive. We get ourselves a future David Attenborough moment beyond this. What? Look, we'll just see what happens with the replay. I think this is the first time in this game where the Ivern gets more value than the Maokai. The Maokai ult is decent, and that's a great equalizer, but look how many of these shields are really clutch. You see, just about to kill Nako, Ivern shield comes through. Can't finish that one off. And Lyncas has enough HP to tank that up too. Nako comes through. He obviously ends up featuring a little bit more in the back end of the set. What the heck happens after that point? We don't even
need to see it.
Not even be suitable for television. Dragon is still up, and we still have that to fight over. Round 2 fight.
Oh, hope so. Hope so. A gold lead, ever so slight for Vitality. 500 gold ahead. 1,000 lead for Nako individually. Has that Triforce completed already? BDS will start up the Drake. Nako has half of a Mega Gnar bar built up. Parus is on that front line. 1-1-3 is going to have to start to walk away from Daisy. Daisy down to 700 HP. The hook lands onto Hilly. He's locked up. Redemption comes down. There's a good equalizer as well as Czajek is forced to flash away. Parus is low. 1-1-3 on the front line. Nako shoves him back into his team, but pays for it with his life. Hilly's hook goes wide once again as Irrelevant now begins to step up, and Hilly's on the wrong side of the wall. Hook back by Parus. Czajek is waiting. Will land the root. It's a bit of damage into Nuke's back as well. Carzzy with the long-range Prey Seekers adds a little bit of his own. With 1-1-3 dead, it looks like BDS have given up the ghost on the Drake. Interesting to see
don't
want to fight. Yeah, you don't have the smite, but you're 4v3, don't fight.
I think they're really scared because the 2 damaging members of Czajek and Carzzy are still alive.
It's true.
I understand that point, but now you've given Soul Point over to Vitality. You can argue about the correctness of the decision to leave it.
But that's why they left.
But this is the consequence now. Great hooks coming from Parus from the majority of this game, actually. I think this Blitzcrank has a lot of value in this competition, and Nako is not that tanky. Not enough to dive into 5 people and survive. He's had a pretty decent game so far, but even after this point, you can see that, you know, the hook comes up a little bit quicker. Hilly's shield runs off, no chance of making it out of that.
1-1-3 is rooted by his own nature's grasp there, with the rebuttal coming out from Czajek.
Wow.
Yeah, which is why he was then able to be caught out by Nako and has to twist advance to avoid the wallop that would have followed up. The shutdown for Nako did go over to Nuke, though. He's 5-0-3 on this Jayce right now, matched by Czajek at 5-1-3. 2 items apiece for those 2 mid laners. 2 items as well, complete on ice.
Hilly.
That's about a 400 gold lead. Hilly's fine for now.
I just hold my breath every time both hook supports are on the same side of the screen. Really, it's like fireworks start to follow soon after that point. So Atskan is alive. We've been fighting so much around bot side, there's not necessarily matter beyond that. Both teams are on wards, but Hilly has no support near him. A little bit worried about that one. Ward's cleared out.
That's never stopped Hilly in the past, let's be honest.
No, it hasn't. It does feel like the angel in his shoulder has departed, really. He's left with very different kind of instinct.
Like, the Lulu game was good. We'll give him credit for that. And he's hit some good hooks in this game as well. It just so often we see a little bit of over-eagerness from him.
Honestly, I don't mind in this game if he's the one tanking the hook. Actually, if he's dying to a hook and the team is right behind him, that's actually completely fine, because it's better he gets hit by the hook than someone else. Atakan has been started up, and Vitality are not on this side of the map, and that is a problem.
Yeah, Naak goes all the way down towards bottom side. He is building up Mega Gnar and will have the TP. Irrelevant puts down the equalizer. They're not going to get close enough in time. The TP comes out, but the Atakan just snuck by BDS. They'll secure it. False life for the next minute and a half. Once again, no neutral objectives to fight over. Sorry, a couple of minutes. No neutral objectives to fight over for that time.
Now, BDS don't have the best way to start fights cleanly. You have the Maokai, which throws that ultimate, but as we've seen, it doesn't necessarily just net you an instant win. We'll see how much they want to start forcing things through, because if you do go a little bit one by one, Nautilus hook, Kai'Sa, of course, if you get enough Mel stacks on people, you can just be shredded very unexpectedly beyond that point. The Atakan does not give them a free win. That's the main point of this.
We'll see if they decide to force something. There's a bot tier 1 for them. And right now, Vitality don't have the easiest path towards it. You can see Irrelevant pushing out that wave. I expect BDS will want to play, obviously Sivir through mid, but you can see Nuke's already working his way down here. There is a ward that Irrelevant's just walked past, so there's possible TP position, but no TPs on Vitality.
There's some important stuff going on as well in terms of Gnar has a good advantage, and Gnar also has vision to push that advantage. I want to see how much Naak can do in this top side in the minutes before the objectives come back up. If you can get enough of a pushing lane there without getting ran at by teleports and a Sivir ulting a Blitzcrank towards you, that might be enough for Vitality to be happy slowing down the game against the Atakan, not giving that GA the maximum value.
I think the problem for Naak is that Nuke should be able to clear waves, even if Naak pushes them in. The only problem, if Nuke oversteps, obviously Naak can then chase him down. So that matchup between the Gnar and the Jayce in the side lane is going to be one to keep our eyes on, as BDS were able to take one tower out of this Atakan buff duration, I guess, with the false life. There's a minute and a half on the Drake. Vitality going to try and set up some vision down towards this bottom side right now.
Okay, so what are going to be our game-changing moments? We do have Ivern getting up towards items. I did say earlier, hey, going towards the Mikhail's going to be really
decided
important.
against it, yeah.
Decided against it, and actually I think that's been reasonable so far. Actually, I think that they've not been troubled by the Maokai as much as I predicted, and that's really helped just with the raw shield power to just turn and fight.
Czajek might be troubled here, though. Doesn't have the flash. Twisted Advance goes forward. The Solar Snare for the root. Czajek brings down the ultimate, but it's not going to be enough. 1-1-3 there with the kill. Nuke's going to keep Naak at bay as well. The Wallop does land the Sun. False Life still there. Gnar into the wall. Naak not chasing any further. Will flash away. Nuke falling low, but where's the rest of BDS? Parus on his way across. Naak with no flash. Parus, you're going to land the hook? No. Naak says no as he avoids the hook.
I was really wondering whether Carzzy could find an angle to fly in. There are some recalls coming through. If Carzzy had that window, especially with the Atakan falling off, could have ulted forwards. 2 items now, and that Kai'Sa hasn't really had the space to turn the game. Carzzy's, we mentioned this earlier in the series too. Fantastic split for him. Hard to play in the 5v5s of the Kai'Sa. However, you split the map well enough into 1v1s, 2v2s, and get some huge value.
Now the next point of call for both these teams is that Ocean Drake. BDS have to fight it. It's soul for Vitality, and even though Vitality are in a bit of a hole right now, a Ocean Soul with an Ivern is just so hard to deal with.
One thing really changes things though. Serpent's Fang for Nuke. I think it's a very intelligent decision. Cuts through some of that shield. We talk about the value of the shields from Ivern just before this point. Walking up, let's see which hooks become the most impactful, and whether those shields can actually save them through the Serpent's Fang.
Naak are going to build up on these wolves. You can see about 3/4 of the way towards that Mega Gnar. Carzzy trying to sneak in towards the bottom side. Nuke has the prio in the mid lane. Your entire playoffs lives, your entire winter split could rest on this fight. Carzzy chunked out a little bit. Irrelevant taking the blast cone away from Hylissang.
The artillery on both sides is really hitting, because you'd think, well, Jayce is the one, here comes the Maokai, here comes the fight.
Hilly will tank it. The rest of Vitality able to avoid it. Hilly just dives into his demise immediately. Enough bushes for Lyncas to get close to this Drake. The redemption coming out as well with the Drake already secured. Parus
Carzzy
locked up. Carzzy dives in. He tries to get onto ice, but he just doesn't quite have the damage. The Gnar into the wall will lock up Irrelevant, but 1-1-3 takes out Carzzy. Nuke is fighting against 2 down towards the bottom side. Lyncas with the root caller. Czajek will take out Nuke. In the end, BDS do take the Drake, but they lose 3 lives for it.
Carzzy finds this moment, gets a lot of damage down, and on the other side, Lyncas makes sure that Czajek makes it out alive. This Mel is really starting to pick up some huge damage numbers. We saw it in the build up to that fight in the poke, and then the burst too after. Wow, some huge numbers coming out. from Czajek. Maokai is your most convenient engage. As we said, if it is Hylissang dying for the Maokai ult, I actually don't think that's that big of an issue. You see the Nautilus ult coming through just before that point. It's not the best Nautilus death, but you'd much rather that than one of your bigger carries. It opens up a split fight. Not everyone's going down the same angles. Ice is very lucky to live through this. Carzzy just tens of HP off of killing him. Might have been a very different fight if that was the case. And of course, we see how much damage Mel can do on the other side.
Especially when someone's rooted, you can land all of those Radiant volleys. Just puts out so much damage. 6,500 damage.
Jeez.
Just from Czajek. He is absolutely on form on this Mel. Although we saw it banned out earlier in the series, it made its way through in the decisive game.
I am glad that this is our game 3 of the series.
Yeah,
If you want the entertainment, if you want the closeness,
yeah.
this is the kind of game that you want. And, you know, I'm sure it's very tense for all you fans of these teams. But as someone sat between the two of them, I really want to see now in the tense moments who's got the execution to make it work.
And the big thing is, no flashes on the carries for BDS. Nuke doesn't have one, Ice doesn't have one, nor does Carzzy, but Czajek has one of his own. So if he's the one being caught out, the ability to reposition always there for him. Baron is up. BDS still have about 1,000 gold lead, but 1,000 at this point doesn't really matter too much. It's a 50th of the total gold that you have in the game, right?
Yeah.
That each team has in the game. It's 100th of the total.
I was going to let that one pass. I was going to be kind.
But when I said that you have, I meant the individual team.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't have that. I'd love that amount of gold.
Ah.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
What, 1,000?
That'd be a lot of gold. That's a lot that you set at that point.
It depends how much, like 1,000 what? What's the unit, you know?
Gold! It's nice. 1-3. Doesn't have flash.
Look
Lucky to miss
at
that
the
one.
damage down back onto him though with the Leandries. 1-1-3, putting some hurt back into that Nautilus, who is pretty squishy. Plated steel caps, a Kindle gem and a locket. 1-1-3 still looking for the chaser. Hilly is going to dredge line away, kind of trying to bait the twisted advance from 1-1-3.
Really good blocking by Daisy there as well, just to make sure that it wasn't a clean hook onto him. Another thing that we're noticing as well, we're getting towards, it's not late game, but we are seeing the feats of strength come in for what the first one was built up by Nuke in terms of the chain-laced crushers. That's the name of that item, which gives you that magic shield. Can help you a little bit. It will be something if the game goes much later than this to keep an eye on for BDS. Vision is now blanketed out, and Vitality might just
Carzzy is on Vision. Or is the it's the
That's the Ivern mask.
Oh no, he's
just
on Vision. Yeah, they've
he
seen
is.
Carzzy, so BDS is going to pull the trigger on this. They immediately started the Drake. They get the TP coming out from Nato as well. Carzzy is not here, but will have that killer instinct if some of that CC lands. Equalizer going down onto Hylissang. The Baron already low enough for BDS just to smite it right now. BDS secure it. Vitality looking for the fight. The hook lands onto 1-1-3. He will fall. BDS trying to get out now. Nato has the flash. And we'll have the Gnar. Irrelevant trying to dodge to the side of it. Oh! The flame spin of Parus lands the hook. Nato with the Gnar into the wall though. And a hook from Hylissang onto Ice. Means that he's going to get chunked out. Killer instinct in from Carzzy. Ice trying to kill him off. Can't quite put the damage down. Irrelevant now.
Daisy.
Alongside Nuke. Daisy will tank the tower. Irrelevant landing an Electro Harpoon, but one is reflected onto him, and that's the slow that Czajek needed. Nuke TP's out. Irrelevant just short of the Solar Snare. Able to get away with the movement speed from the Scrap Shield. Puts down another Electro Harpoon and should actually be able to escape. Might even clear out a bit of this wave on his way.
And I know that Czajek probably could have flashed for the kill. It is so important that he doesn't though, because Dragon through this incredibly extended play is coming up in a minute after this point. Vitality don't want to go for a smite steal. That's completely fine. Ivern is not really someone who wants to flash ahead of the rest of his teammates because they know they can take the fight after this point. You know, it's a good Sivir ult to disengage the play. I thought they were going to get out of this, and then some interesting things happen where the Blitzcrank hook, I think, actually completely sells out the team. It gets a Mega Gnar onto Nuke, and it means that he's not there to immediately turn around with to the skies onto the clumped up unit. Close run things. Soul is spawning in 20 seconds, and Carzzy gets away with that.
As his flash up, 1-1-3 going in for Hylissang once again, who doesn't have a way out of this. BDS pick up the first kill. Now Nature's Grasp used. Czajek's going to reflect it. You can see the roots going back. Solar Snare for a little bit more, but Czajek's just trying to put a bit of damage into the back of the tree right now. Nako's trying to catch that mid-wave. The ice is now cleared out. The Drake up, as you say. Vitality can just back away from this. It would be soul for them, but it's nothing really for BDS, you know, just their second dragon of the game.
All right, Medic, we are going for a little bit longer in this one, past the 30-minute mark in the elimination game, and our first 3-game best of 3 in the LEC playoffs. That time, Hilly dies, but not for the Maokai ult. Before that, it's been okay. Now that, God, that's a lot of damage onto the Ivern. He is not tanky, even through those shields against this level of gold from 7-1-3 Jayce on Nuke. Nuke on Jayce.
I was going to leave her.
Very happy you would have done that.
BDS still pushing forward a little bit. The Baron expires in 40 seconds time. I feel like we'll kind of go back into a neutralized state for these two teams. Obviously BDS have a bit of the advantage. They can push forward, they have a little bit of a gold lead, but when that Baron expires, the wave cliff and Vitality will be there. The Mel obviously has that long range artillery. Parus looking still. Hilly's still stepping forward. Dredge line comes out, gets the pull off. Now still with the Baron, BDS pushing in, and if they can crack an inhibitor with this push, which they can, that's huge. They're looking for more though. 10 seconds before the Baron expires. They knew that Naak was pushing in a side lane. Now he's back, flashed away. As BDS escaped the clutches of that Dredge line, it was Ice who had to get out. Solar Snare just wide. Nuke still on that front line. Nature's Grass coming out. Nuke with a knockback onto Naak, who tries to jump away. The hook coming out from Parus as well, but Carzzy's dive onto the back line and Nuke's already dead. Czajek now flashing forward. Ice down as well. Carzzy has done so much once again for his team. Is the trigger seen enough? They shield him up. Carzzy survives through the equalizer. Vitality find 3 as BDS overstepped.
BDS, are they going to get away with 1 or 2? I think it'll be the both of them. Parus escapes in the fog of war. BDS commit the cardinal sin of Baron pushes and push too greedily. Just because you have the objective does not mean you are set up to win that fight as well. Huge chunk comes down to Nuke, and that's a big problem. If Nuke ends up getting taken out early, which Carzzy finds the perfect angle to do so, a lot of your damage goes with it. Czajek has incredible follow-up distance. Carzzy repositions really well, and your whole composition falls apart. The equalizer was there to try and get one last tap. Can't even get through that through the Ivern shields. 33 minutes now in. The Baron buff now survived. Gold within 1,000. So it's, at this point, again, it's decorative. It's decorative at this point. And Vitality, if they survive another 3 minutes, might get another shot at Soul.
Like, if Vitality win this series, someone is giving Carzzy a raise, dude. Like, the amount of, he has also inted, but the amount of times they've been losing a fight and he's gone, Ice and Nuke are now dead and they've started winning the fight, it has been absolutely exceptional. The guy continues to impress and continues to depress, depending on what portion of the game you're watching.
Czajek, that's a lot of damage going back onto him. That's that rebuttal, getting lower and lower cooldown as you get higher and higher level as well. BDS, how good is their next Maokai going to be? How good is their next Blitzcrank hook going to be? It can just be one moment of miraculous skill shot accuracy, seals the game. It's got to be a pretty good one though. They haven't been able to close the game, and I think they should be getting a little bit worried now.
Agreed, and even with Vitality having lost their bot lane inhibitor, Naak is the one taking structures in that bot side. No one is really able to answer him. Irrelevant does have damage, but it's much more suited to playing in a team fight. It's Nuke who has to really answer the pressure that the Gnar is putting down. You can see he's the one working his way down there right now. Baron up in 50 seconds. Let's have a look at how these teams are playing around the vision. Vitality is predominantly on the bot side to make sure that Naak could push out. Now they'll come back out onto the map and try and gain some vision towards that Baron buff.
Yeah, with the Baron being up in a minute, those wards on the top side, kind of mirroring the ones that Vitality have on the bot side, show the priority on those objectives. BDS, well, they really don't want to let that Soul go over to Vitality, of course. With how long this fight's have been going, it's going to get so much value, especially through those Ivern shields. We'll talk about that a bunch this game. A lot of huge items built up. We have Terminus on Carzzy, gives you the Shred and the extra resist, and then you have the extra Overshield from the Bloodthirster. Carzzy is pretty damn hard to kill at this point, especially when you add on the Ivern shields after.
Yeah, the Dawn Core as well for the Ivern now being complete is huge. The extra healing and shielding power you get from that will make it very difficult to kill Carzzy if you haven't got the Serpent's Fang, if you haven't got the static field on him, if he's not diving onto someone who can CC him. There's always that threat. Carzzy no flash right now, Ice the same. Naak still pushing through bot, has just gone into Mega Gnar form, so BDS, a small window here where they could look for the engage, knowing that Mega Gnar is going to fall off. They decide against it instead, just gaining control of that topside river.
Daisy's going to die. That was a very important anti-hook and anti-kind of warding tool. Hylissang, hook for hook.
Hylissang hooked up, the equalizer going onto the backline, Hylissang has just burst, Carzzy's there as well! He dashes away, but he's dead! The no flash on the Kai'Sa. BDS punish it, and now, what are Vitality going to do? Well, there's only 20 seconds left on the Drake. Are they just going to try and make BDS fight them around this Drake? They still have a lot of damage.
I think that's got to be the fight done, right? Irrelevant. Maybe he wants to flash a good route. He's got the death cap on it too.
Kills him. Oh, the stopwatch! The stopwatch from Irrelevant. The Golden Eclipse was coming down, and I'm pretty sure Irrelevant was dead. Czajek now doesn't have that ultimate, and BDS will turn their attentions towards the Drake instead of the Baron. 20 seconds before Carzzy is back up.
10, 2, and 7 on the Mal. Yeah, when you get to late game and you get a fancy hat on top, you can see the damage there. BDS, though, they finally get themselves the key carry in that Kai'Sa, which has been a thorn in their side in these last couple of fights. Irrelevant 1-1-3, really linking up well. Czajek is enough damage to allow Vitality the luxury of being able to walk up, as we've been seeing around this objective. With 6 dragons down and we don't have a soul, we are late game, folks.
Yeah, 37 minutes in. Importantly, though, Parus didn't have an opportunity to reset right now, so you can actually see he has no wards on his Bloodsong, whereas Hylissang obviously died, so he did reset, which means Vitality have a much easier way of gaining control around the vision here. Now, they haven't cleared out some of these control wards that BDS planted earlier. If they had done that, it would have been really hard for BDS to actually push forward and gain control like this. The reason Vitality had to cede ground was Carzzy was dealing with a wave in the bot side, and so now BDS know that they have the opportunity to start this up before Carzzy can get to the fight.
Carzzy also has rank 3 ultimate, very strong follow-up dash. That is a great equalizer onto Lyncas. He's not going to be there for the shields. Vitality, I don't think they can find the fight after the Baron like they did for the last one.
Last time in this sort of position, it collapsed for BDS, but as you say, they can't really close the distance that quickly. Carzzy is pushing through mid. Nato is here, but doesn't have the Mega yet and doesn't really have anything to hit, apart from the Gromp over the wall to build up that Mega Gnar bar. So BDS will get all 5 out. Carzzy is pushing through mid. That tower's still pretty healthy, I believe, though, so shouldn't be able to take the tier 2. Now, the next 2.5 minutes are vital for Vitality. Try not to lose all 3 inhibs. If you can manage that, you can then fight at the Drake in 3 minutes' time.
And on the other side for BDS, obviously you want to slow crush in with that Baron. Do not overpush the way you did before, and look to see if there's any of those micro miss positions which make things that much easier to pick off. If you can find Czajek or Carzzy, the game may well just end. So keep your eyes on the big initiation tools and the equalizer after that point. That may well be the end of the series.
Carzzy's going to have his cleanse and his flashback up. Czajek has done such a good job just avoiding pressure. Obviously, Rebuttal gives you a lot of safety, but he has had an exemplary game so far. 10, 2, and 7 on this rail. BDS, a 2-pronged approach. It's a bident rather than a fork right now. We'll see if Vitality can defend. Hylissang still stepping forward. Obviously has the safety of the trigger seed. You can see how much smaller that shield is.
Yeah.
Carzzy dives in onto Nuke. Nuke's going to flash the wall. Okay. Carzzy gets the summoner out. BDS had left their mid laner as the second prong of their attack, and where he wasn't quite able to do damage to Carzzy as we see the hook from Parus. Counter hook coming out. Hylissang falls low, but the ignite ticking on him will not be enough to kill him off. Vitality find another using the bushes from the Ivern to lay a trap there for Parus. And now BDS back off. We said, can Vitality survive without losing all 3 inhibs? So far, they have survived without losing 1.
Yeah, and that's mission accomplished for now. And once again, BDS can't really use the Baron buff in the way that they wanted to. Serious credit to both Carzzy and Hilly finding their moment to break a little bit of that pressure, allow it to just lapse out a little bit more. So, Baron buff is not the end of the game. Dragon is up in 2 minutes. Now it is Soul for both teams, not just Vitality, and Vitality might be sweating a little bit more. I will say, I think the scheme of this game, Ocean Soul is better for Vitality than BDS, because if Kai'Sa jumps at you, I don't think the Ocean Soul saves you. I think it might save Vitality from the burn of the ultimate of the Rumble, especially with the Ivern shields as well. Either way, I think we're going to get a kill fight over that Dragon either way. That might not be relevant. We'll see in a couple of minutes, eh?
It's do or die in a minute 20 seconds. You got to feel. BDS, no flash on their mid lane, and look at the damage from Czajek. Absolutely flying here. Almost 50k from him alone. Carzzy obviously more damage as well than Ice. Ice is more sort of, incidental damage with the ricochets and such during the fights. 113 is looking for a little bit of a flank here. See his position towards the top side. BDS still a minute before this Drake comes up, but they don't have control of it at all.
Look how they're hanging down to the bot side here. This is really intelligent Vitality. They know the areas they don't have vision around. Yeah, there might be an ult coming over the wall.
Rebuttal's been used. 113 is going to nature's grasp. As soon as you see the rebuttal going down, that's the indication to engage. Carzzy with a great cleanse with a twisted advance immediately on Lyncas, and that's all of the shields down. Czajek able to flash away. Carzzy burned his cleanse to escape as well. Does still have the flash. But with Hilly and Lyncas down, can Vitality hold the line? TP from Czajek towards the top lane. The inhibitor in the mid lane has fallen. Will BDS turn their eyes towards the Drake, or do they think they can finish it right here, right now?
Gnar is really the big playmaking tool to buy time. The wave clear comes through. 1-1-3, fantastic ultimate again such a good initiation tool throughout the series for BDS. It's not, however, the end of the game. Dragon has spawned, and it will likely be the Soul, though. So we did say, oh, you know, if Kai'Sa's jumping at you, maybe it's not, you know, it's not going to save you. Well, we'll get to put that to the test now at this point. It will be a Soul. And what is that? Is that 4 Dragons back-to-back for BDS? It's at least 3. Really managed, they've managed to completely cut Vitality off in that area of the map, but Vitality not gone yet.
Not over until it's over. Nuke. No flash. Carzzy's looking for him. What a moment for the AD carry from Vitality. Super minion. You baited us all.
He was really looking for it, though.
Yeah, I can't blame him, right? I think he does win the 1v1 into Nuke right now. 4 items complete for him. Those Prey Seekers don't do too much damage. Hasn't gone down the AP route, obviously, but when you have Czajek 5 items, well, 6 items fully built, you don't really need more AP from the rest of your lineup.
I think when you're in mid-game, sometimes like, oh, I want the DPS or something like that, and you can understand going towards the AD build. Once you get hyper late game, you go, wish I had a Shadow Flame and an Essence Reaver or something like that at this point. There are a bunch of poke builds. Baron's going to be spawning in a minute, and that will be, of course, something that BDS can go towards very easily with Ocean Soul and their territory and a lot of vision control coming up.
We've had like 4 fights in this game where we've said, oh, this could be the deciding game of the fight. The fight of the game, you know, this could be it. It could be over.
We have lied to you. I'm so sorry. We don't mean to be.
It could have been every single time. It wasn't, but it could have been. Both these teams unwilling to give up the ghost of their splits as of yet.
And you know, both of these teams have had difficult playoffs runs so far. They got blasted in both of their respective series versus Mobstar Koi and Karmine Corp. This is, of course, not the full redemption. One team will go forward from this a little bit bloodied in the mouth as well. Could be down to, again, we're not trying to lie, it could come down to just the next fight. One good enough kill onto Czajek or Carzzy could be it for BDS. On the other side, Carzzy gets a good enough angle. Czajek the same as well. That damage racks up so quickly. Blink and you miss it. Your health bar's gone.
Nato. He's going towards the Razor Beaks. Hilly pulled in. Hilly dead. Someone has to face check, and it was Hilly alongside Daisy. Nuke has a GA now as well, which makes it even harder for Carzzy to actually find that damage. Naako looking for the Mega Gnar, looking for that ultimate into the wall. Carzzy takes a chunk. Oh, he's almost down to half HP already, and the Equalizer available to Irrelevant. Redemption comes out. Will heal up Czajek and Carzzy, but they know they can't fight the Baron anymore. BDS now with the Ocean Soul with the Baron for next 3 minutes.
They are super buffed up, because remember, we're getting to the point in the game where full builds come through and you get some extra little goodies, like, of course, the, well, not that, because the thing comes
the Red Bull Baron power play,
yeah, the Red Bull Baron power play, which I absolutely should have predicted. Turns out folks have had so many Barons, it's a little bit hard to track all of them, but the extra boots on top of everything else give you an extra cap to your build, which Vitality will not have. They have so many buffs. Can they finally take the Nexus and do away with the series? Vitality are holding on with just all their fingernails attached to the cliff edge.
Hylissang goes in, the Equalizer on the backline though, and Hylissang is dead! Hilly dies once again. And now, Naako trying to get that Mega Gnar up. They have cleared out the wave. They'll hold on for now. Hilly's 45 seconds away, but with the next wave comes the oncoming tsunami of BDS. Czajek looking for that Solar Snare, the CC. Vitality now trying to defend with 3 inhibitors down. They have good wave clear, but do they have the ability to stop BDS's advance?
Oh, they're trying to wave clear as best they can, but this is tutorial League of Legends. All 3 inhibs down, which means you get even more super minions. Can Vitality hang on? Can BDS
goes? He goes in, he looks for the Gnar, he finds them, but his team is not there to follow up. Carzzy dives in, and Carzzy is met by BDS. Nuke will take him out. Hilly will respawn just to see his Nexus fall. As in the end, BDS will best Vitality.
It takes them a long time to finally drive the dagger home, but BDS send Vitality out of playoffs. It was long. It was an absolute slugfest, but BDS finally, and I think really through 113's engages, get themselves the team fights they need.
It was the coordination. You could see Parus looking for the hook. As soon as Rebuttal was down, it's like, okay, 113, let's go. We know we can actually find this engage. Great play all around. You can vote for one of the BDS players in your Kia player of the game, player of the series vote, sorry, 113, Nuke, and Parus are your options. Nuke also had a great game. Yep. Parus also, like in game 1, had an absolute blinder.
Oh yeah, because this is for the whole series. That's all you have to judge it over the course of it. Yeah, I know the BDS really felt like they came online when the game got a little bit slower. Game 3, probably a little too slow for what they wanted, but they got away with it. They get it over the line. They will move on to the next round of the lower bracket.
And they'll play up against Fnatic tomorrow. Like, it's not a long time they have to really reset and get ready for tomorrow's games. Vitality have a slightly longer time, of course, to reset before they will come back in spring. It'll take a while as they finish up their winter split. Some great moments, some inconsistencies, I think, overall is what has plagued Vitality this winter.
They bow out on a slugfest in that game 3. It is hard to come off the stage with a loss of that kind of length. It does weigh hard on you. I think that, you know, it was a heck of a game. They go out.
That they do, and we're going to go to a short break ourselves. Afterwards, Laurre will be standing by with Nuke.
And welcome back to the stage. I'm Laurre, standing by with Nuke in the Marriott Bonvoy post-game check-in. Nuke, one word to describe this series, to describe this last game, the anxiety that your fans felt.
Like stressful,
I bet,
game
yeah.
were like kind of crazy. We always had a lead.
Yeah.
I think we were playing well early game, but then mid-game start and it start like I don't know, like it's hard, and yeah.
Yeah, it feels, I mean, that's something we've discussed ahead of the series, actually. It feels like mid-game kicks in, and there's those intrusive thoughts that you guys cannot control, where you pull the trigger when you don't have to. Is that something you're working on? And how do you fix this, actually? It seems easier said than done.
Okay, we are working a lot on it, like mostly this. How to fix it, it's like, I don't know.
All right.
We just have to play better as a team, and yeah.
But you did, though, because I know that before the series, I was talking to you about the discipline maybe that was lacking for BDS, and you said it's not so much discipline, but more synergy between us.
Yeah.
It felt pretty good today.
Today was better. Like we were more on the same page, but still like some moment. Like I have one play in mind, like the Herald, when it's like full stomp early game, and if we stack as a ball, we'll win. But it was like. It's those little moments that we fail that makes the game really hard, you know.
And I feel like it's going to be even harder tomorrow against Fnatic, one of the best teams we had in the regular season. Fell through against G2 last week. What's your understanding of Fnatic as a team right now? You're not going to have a lot of time to prep either.
Okay, I mean, Fnatic, strong mid-jungle subcore, strong understanding of the game. We'll do everything with the friendship of power to beat them. And it will be good tomorrow.
The power of friendship to win games and to win the LEC in the end. That's the hope. We have 113, your jungler, on the other side of the studio with Sjokz and Finn. Anything you want to tell him after today's performance?
Nice smite. We got Nash a lot. Thank you, Boom. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Keep them coming. And thank you, Nuke, for the intro.
Thank you very much.
Sjokz, over to you.
Thank you so much. The friendship of power is coming through, and congrats on the smites and everything. This is your biggest fan, by the way. You of course are very familiar with him.
I'm his biggest fan as well.
Yeah? Do you think you made him proud today?
I don't think so. I played so bad, like I think, but
We'll talk about that later, okay? Let's just celebrate while we're happy.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Yes, congratulations. Difficult series. I have Gnar from your side as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think this series could have ended on game 2 if we played better as a team, and as individual I made a big mistake around minute 16 on River, and if this doesn't happen, like we were stomping both games, both game 1 and game 2, and we should have finished it more cleaner, I guess.
Yeah, that was a bit sad. Speaking of the mistake at minute 16, here we have you going for a crab in topside River. Why did this happen, do you think? Was it just impatience?
I mean, crab is just like kinda yummy.
Kinda yummy? Yummy in your tummy?
Yeah, yummy in my tummy. This scuttle crab, like, I wanted it so bad.
Yeah, I mean, your team kind of saw that and tried to help you. Obviously, this was a pretty disaster. They came back, Sivir got really strong Ahri as well. But you guys managed to bounce back very well in game 3. But it took quite some time to finish that game out. Were you guys getting stressed in the middle of the late game fights?
I think so. If you listen to our communication, you will like think like house is on fire or something. And this is obviously not good. We need to be a bit more calm, more chill. And this series was a good experience for us, since both games like kind of went long. and we went into game 3. It's a good experience for us for tomorrow, and I hope we can be more chill and calm tomorrow.
Sounds like you guys need a firefighter.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time to step up a bit yourself.
To be fair, it is like, this is what Finn set up the day with. It's like, he loves to see you play because it's always going to be explosive. You don't know what you're going to get, but as you said yourself, sometimes you find yourself in the wrong position. And when we spoke at the beginning of the year, you said, I really want people to remember me differently than they did last time I was here. Do you feel like you're succeeding a little bit in that, or?
I think depends. I always expect a lot from myself, and so far this series, game 1 and at least for my performance, game 1 and 2 was fine till some point, and I dropped the ball at game 2, as I said, like individually, and game 3, I think I just played bad, and I think this is not a like good sign, and but I will try to make people remember me as a good player instead of a flipper, and I hope I can do that tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of a rock star, so that's fine too, right, Finn?
I will keep supporting him until he
I
becomes
know
that
you
player.
will. Our Kia player of the series was Parus, 113. You have some kind words for your support?
Yeah, I'm happy for him. Also, it's his birthday today.
Oh!
And
Happy birthday, Parus.
yeah, I want to say him happy birthday, and I hope it was not a bad birthday for him.
No.
Yeah, that's it.
You were just making it more exciting, really. That's
Yeah.
what it was. All
He
right.
said I would rather have this than like celebrate my birthday, so I guess it was fine.
That's lovely. Well, congratulations to him. We'll see you tomorrow. Teşekkürler, of course. And also, by the way, Laurre won the bingo, the Fearless bingo. Just so you know, she's the best of any of us. We'll be tossing to a quick break, but when we come back, we have the Spanish matchup between GX and TH, Team Heretics versus Giant X.
Wait, is he switching lanes?